Merry Christmas, everybody. We're talking to Bill Flowers today about the Tulane game and getting ready for the Georgia Bulldogs as we celebrate this happiest of days.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, the most watched Ole Miss podcast out there. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former Ole Miss staff member as well. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now it's the number one sports podcast network in the country. That's all thanks to you. On today's show, we're going to talk to Bill Flowers about his experience at the Ole Miss Tulane game. We're going to get ready for the Georgia Bulldogs. We're going to talk Sugar Bowl. Everything that you can imagine on this joyous of episodes. I'm excited to talk to Bill all about that. All of this and more on today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Remember, we're free and available in all the podcast apps and on YouTube, and a special hello to our insiders and everydayers who make the show what it is. Your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. That could come in very handy in about a week from right now. So that's something that you can take advantage of if you're planning on going to the Sugar Bowl. All right, Bill, I got to know, was that atmosphere everything that you imagined it could have been?
You know, it was. The atmosphere was amazing. The game, I was actually talking with Shepard Smith after the game, and Shepard said he had covered Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl, and he said, I can tell you, I have not seen the amount of pyrometrics that were done at the Ole Miss game, what they did with the light show, with all the wristbands and being able to synchronize everything during the game. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. Everybody, the Friday night, there wasn't nearly as many people as I thought there were going to be because it was a home game and people were coming in, and because it was an afternoon game, they were able to drive in. So the atmosphere really, as time was going on, it just kind of built up like a tsunami. And it was an amazing atmosphere. The weather was beautiful. You really couldn't have asked for a better day for football. And going into the game, I felt bad for Tulane because here you go, a team that potentially can win the national championship, who is essentially your Goliath, is not only have they lost their head coach and now have a complete chip on their shoulder, they are absolutely dialed in to say, we are going to give every single ounce of power that we have against our opponent. And you think, man, there's no way Tulane will be able to handle it. Because when Ole Miss plays Tulane during the year, it's sort of like, hey, it's Tulane, let's keep our focus. And when that first drive, you could tell Tulane didn't have a shot.
Yeah, it was like 3 seconds, just bang, 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 like 59 seconds total was the first drive. And at that point, I was like, this football team is ticked off, which they should be after what they've went through. This is a ticked off football team. And as long as this continues, I don't know if anybody is going to be able to beat them.
Well, Georgia, again, I was talking with some of the football players in the stands, past guys. And I asked them who primarily played defense. I said, listen, against Georgia, am I wrong that you're going to have to choose between the pass or the run? And they said, absolutely. You're going to have to stack the box. You're going to have to blitz. You're going to have to go all out with an aggressive nature and say, you are not going to run the ball on us. We saw what happened last time at Georgia at home, at their home, and we just could not stop their run. And if we just stopped one drive, we win the ball game. So we have nothing to lose if we go completely committed to stopping the run. And I truly believe that if you stack the box and blitz, you're going to put yourself in a position to capitalize on a number of turnovers. And if that's the case, Ole Miss will win the game. I truly believe Ole Miss will win the game, but they're going to have to sell out against the run and be fully content and giving up the big play if it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, how cool was it to go to the game and all of a sudden you look around and the Mannings are back? Like the first week after Kiffin's gone, the Mannings are back in the building.
Well, as we all saw that clip about Archie finally voicing his opinion on Lane, that and reading other articles about now the Mannings will be back involved, and listening to other people about Lane and how he was doing things. I mean, he was a weird cat. He really didn't want much involvement other than just give me your money and leave us alone. And it was very interesting to kind of hear some of the things that have been coming out. But it was great to see Archie and Eli and being back. I mean, people were just mind blown that why would you not involve the Mannings as much as you possibly can?
Yeah, it makes no sense. And you could also tell, like, Eli was happy. He was genuinely happy for that moment. And I have to ask you a question because he's won Super Bowls, but he put in some sweat equity at Ole Miss, just like you did, just like everybody else. Was that game kind of a culmination of what you practiced for 20 years ago?
In 2003?
Yeah, like you finally got to see that. Did you feel like you at least were a part of it or something like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, this day and era of college football is completely different. And this was the biggest takeaway that I could tell. When we were in the stands, all the players that were from my era, we had a great camaraderie. We loved on each other. We loved taking pictures, just catching up. And you could look at the other players that weren't from that era, and they just don't have that sense of camaraderie, that brotherhood, because they didn't sit there and build a program from scratch. We built a program from scratch, but you're here living with yours.
All right, we'll come back. We'll come back with more with Bill Flowers talking football, getting ready for the game that was Ole Miss versus Tulane, all of that. Merry Christmas, everybody, and we will talk to you in just a second. You know, the NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is the best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover or a missed fourth down conversion. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly. Player props that update as guys heat up. You can bet the next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets with FanDuel.com. FanDuel, the game moves fast, so can you. Do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment to this video. Subscribe to the podcast on the whichever audio podcast you're listening to this on, and give it a 5-star review. It costs absolutely nothing, but it helps keep all of this free. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in America. That's all on you. You already live your team, every day. Now you can take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get the Locked On Ole Miss podcast with no interruptions, members only, Discord access, and more, all for just $5 per month or $50 per year. Go to lockedonolemmiss.supercast.com or check out the link that's down in the show notes to learn more. So, Bill, what stands out? Obviously, you talked about the pyrotechnics a little bit earlier. What stands out to you about that Tulane game and the whole experience, the whole day? What's the main thing you're going to pull back from that other?
Well, first, I need to apologize for being in the car, but I want to give a shout out to my little man right here, your future Ole Miss Rebel, who's getting shy right here, Zach Flowers, Miss Lucy Flowers, my little gymnast, my 14-year-old beauty queen, Gabby Flowers, and my wife, who's my chauffeur for the day, Rachel Flowers. So I apologize, but I wanted you guys at least know who was in the scene with me.
Little family time.
Yeah, little family time. The biggest thing that I took away from it was the explosiveness of our offense. I think defensively, we're seeing that we absolutely have to control the line of scrimmage defensively. And the only way that you're going to do that is by just stacking the bots and being super aggressive. Tulane's running back, my understanding, is probably going to transfer and go to LSU. He was a gamer. But you're going to have to defensively be able to, in order to have longevity in this college playoff run, defensively, we're going to have to be better up front. Offensively, I think we're going to be strong. I know Keon Lacey might be out, but that's what I kind of took away from it was we'll be in good shape. We'll be able to put points on the board. It's going to be defensively being able to handle the line of scrimmage and stopping the run.
Yeah, and the important thing for people that watch that game, they might look at the box score and thought that the defense was leaky. The defense was leaky on first down. They gave up some explosive plays. But when the front seven knew you were going to run the ball and knew it was coming, Tulane had no chance.
Well, and I think that's what you're going to have to do consistently against Georgia. I just don't think we have the firepower to be able to try to stop both components. And I don't think that's a knock. I mean, there's you don't very often have a defense like we had last year where you had superior different defensive front line and then a superior backfield. So being able to understand that Georgia's strength is the run game. And if we're going to beat Georgia, we're going to have to play that aggressive. Every down is going to be a rundown. It's going to be a run, but we have to keep the safeties short. We have to press. You have to keep you have to jam the receivers as much as possible, get them off their routes, and put pressure on Gunner and force him to make mistakes. That is the only way that we're going to be able to handle Georgia and any other team that we face.
It's kind of like send at least 5 on every single play.
Right. If you send 5 and you are creating enough pressure to force Gunner to get the ball out of his hand quickly, and you push those receivers off their route, bad things are going to happen. And if they run the ball, at least if you're bringing 5, your linebackers are filling the hole that you're not hitting them at 3 or 4 yards past the line of scrimmage. You're at least meeting them at the hole.
Yeah, and, whenever they played back in mid-October, everybody looks at that game, and especially the flyover media is going to look at the box score and say, this is a problem. At that time, Ole Miss was doing a lot of drop 8 coverage and just rushing 3. And the way that you get people out of just rushing 3 and dropping 8 is by running the football. And that's what Georgia did to Ole Miss. And after that game, Ole Miss started sending a lot more. And against Oklahoma and moving on, they became a much better version. of what they could be. Like before the Georgia game, they had 5 sacks. After the Georgia game, they had 21, and Georgia was basically in the middle of the season. So I do think that this game is going to look a little bit different. I do think that Pete Golding is going to find a way to take advantage of what Georgia wants to do offensively. And Georgia being down an offensive lineman or two, that is not nothing. And that's something we probably should pay attention, especially with Will Eccles and Xavion Harris in the middle of the field.
Absolutely agree.
So should be interesting as well. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to do one more segment with Bill before he goes off and does his National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation stuff with the family. We will talk with Bill Flowers right after this. Merry Christmas, everybody. All right, we're going to be with Bill Flowers in just a second. I do want to let you know that you can join the Everydayer Club. That is our all-access program where it has Dalen Flowers giving reports on men's basketball. That's where our basketball coverage is living right now. You can talk with Corey Burton on there. He is available doing a lot of the coaches film type stuff that's not available on YouTube. You have Mike Huseman, who is an expert on the transfer portal and coaching. That's all available in the all-access plan. Plus, you can join our subtext program there and communicate directly with us. So just an idea. It's $15 per month, $130 per year, something like that. Go to lockedonolemiss.supercast.com. It's on there. It is pretty awesome. So please take care of that. All right. Next, Bill, we got the Sugar Bowl. And everybody that I talk to is going to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. So I'm going to just ask you, are you going to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl?
Yes.
It makes sense. So, you know, it's interesting. Whenever you played ball at Ole Miss, Ole Miss was right in the middle of that 35-year drought of going to the Sugar Bowl. And that's when the Sugar Bowl was like the guiding light of the program. Since 2015, this will be Ole Miss's third trip. 3 head coaches out of 4 have gone to the Sugar Bowl. And I try to explain to people what that game means, especially to people my age who grew up after the Johnny Vaught years and before all of this happened. The appreciation for that game in New Orleans is completely off the charts.
Well, I think that the big thing for the Sugar Bowl and Ole Miss is that you have such a large fan base in New Orleans, and now these Sugar Bowls, the Orange Bowls, they didn't have the star power as they did before, because obviously that was these big bowls. This is now, the venues. And the venue is the Sugar Bowl, and it is the second round, and this is where it begins. And I think the fact that Ole Miss won the first playoff game, now gets to have their second game against Georgia at the Sugar Bowl, which is essentially a home game for Ole Miss against the team that hasn't played in 4.5 weeks. We got to play, knock the dust off. Every team that had a bye last year lost. To be able to have this in New Orleans is a huge opportunity for Ole Miss and Pete to really take advantage of this game. And I think if they can do what we know they can do, and defensively they can hold their own, winning the Sugar Bowl, which is no longer really the Sugar Bowl, it's the second round playoff game, will be historic.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think if Ole Miss beats Georgia, they're going to win the national championship, I think.
Yeah, I think it all based around our defense. And that will be what determines. And absolutely, I think right now, if you had to say what are the 3 best teams in college football, you'd have to say Indiana, you would have to say Ohio State and Georgia. And why is that? Because they are so physical. They can control the line of scrimmage. And that's the one piece right now that Ole Miss is lacking, saying that we can control the defensive line. And if they can show the world that they can stop the run, then Ole Miss gets into that for sure, that top three, and has a true shot at winning the national championship.
And it would be absolutely hilarious, Bill, if you looked up at the national championship game and it's Ole Miss versus Texas Tech, and somehow that would be fitting.
I mean, I want to see Ole Miss versus Alabama. Can you imagine what the cost?
I'm just talking about the weirdness that Ole Miss and Texas Tech always played in bowl games. It would just, it would make sense that Ole Miss would have to play Texas Tech during this run.
Yeah, it would. The history is not great on that one, but I'm pulling for us in Alabama. I mean, that's what I want to see. I want to see us in Alabama in the national championship in Miami. There's not an Ole Miss fan that will not try to make sure that they're in Miami for that one.
Yeah, it's at the point there's three games left in this run. There's going to be 40,000 Ole Miss fans at the Sugar Bowl. They're going to have at least 60% of that building. It's going to be basically a home game for them. The next one's in Glendale, Arizona. That's the weird one.
Yeah.
And it would be against either Ohio State or Miami, which means everybody has to travel. But I do think if Ole Miss gets there, people are going to go. I think that people are right now currently taking out second mortgages on their homes so they could follow this run. I'm dead serious about that.
I've got a buddy that said he is not going to the Sugar Bowl, but he is saving up to go to Arizona.
Okay. Well, we have been to the Sugar Bowl twice already in the last 10 years. So,
well, I think he's playing. He's one of those fans that's saying, you know what, I'm just not there yet to emotionally put myself there. I will emotionally put myself there if they beat Georgia.
Well, my game, the one I'm going to go to, because, going into stadiums, that's a problem for me because of my balance and my, all of that. But if Ole Miss makes it to Miami, I will be in that stadium for that game. Somewhere, standing somewhere, I will be in that stadium. But yeah, that's balance be damned. Essentially, I will go check that out and see that in person. And I'm excited because everybody I talked to, I did a watch party for the first round playoff game at the Tampa Bay Rebel Club.
Yeah, how was that?
It was fantastic. There was like 50 people there watching games. They were really great people. They put together a really good event. But probably 70% of the people that were there said, yeah, we're going to the Sugar Bowl. Anybody you talk to, yeah, we're going there. And you just start doing the math on that. If everybody you're talking to is saying that, you're like, my gosh, that place is going to be overrun.
Yeah, I mean, the Sugar Bowl is going to be a problem with getting tickets, and everybody's going to the Sugar Bowl. The question will be how many people can afford to go to the Sugar Bowl and then go to Glendale, Arizona. Yeah. Listen, if you can do that, great, but there's a lot of people that can't, and they're gonna have to choose one or the other. And then I think everybody said, okay, I'll take the second mortgage on the house for Miami.
Yeah, seriously. All right. So what do you have planned for Christmas, bud?
We're staying here. We're in Birmingham. The kiddos are getting ready. They're excited, and they're excited to see what Santa's gonna bring them. Little man's hoping he doesn't get too much coal under in his stocking this year. He says he's not.
After the flag football run, I mean, it's not a slam dunk.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he's a good little boy. I think he's and sister says no, he's not. So, but that's what we're doing. We're staying here in Birmingham. About 75-degree Christmas this year.
Nice. And I'm headed up today. Right now, I'm on the road heading up to Tennessee because Monday is my 25th wedding anniversary celebration.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so me and the wife are heading up there to be with the mother-in-law and have a party and all of that stuff before I fly right back down here and immediately get back into game week coverage on Monday morning. So
good for you.
It's going to be a busy weekend for me as well. But anyway, Merry Christmas to you and yours, and tell them thank you for allowing me to talk to you every single week. And I will talk to you next week, buddy.
Yes, sir. Hotty toddy. Merry Christmas. Safe travels.
Hotty toddy. Merry Christmas and safe travels to you as well. Take care. All right. Thanks for tuning in today to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We'll continue to talk Ole Miss in Georgia all week long. So make sure you subscribe and follow the show so you don't miss an episode. We're on all the social channels as well. And also, were we on your Spotify Wrap, Locked On Ole Miss? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of the brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and they will drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we send you over to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure your second listen is Locked On College Football or Locked On SEC. Hotty toddy, everybody, and we are just a week away from the biggest college football game in Ole Miss football history. So everybody have a very Merry Christmas, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care.